Not surprised at all. You won't, yeah,
Absolutely not.
Unlike what you're shooting, that won't be seen in public.
No.
That's used for intelligence gathering. They'll want to take that back and show it to David Miscavige and the executives, and they'll find out who was here and what they can do to handle you.
First-hand knowledge of what?
Say it again, sir.
First-hand knowledge of films, photography being taken of people.
Oh yeah, I mean I've been in a mall. I've been in a mall and I've had a little kid come up to me with his cell phone and go click.
No.
I've had people come up.
Oh. While you were in Scientology, any of you, did you handle that material?
Oh, I think maybe. Yeah. Also, yeah.
I did.
I was in
It's the way that when the FBI did the raids on Scientology way back when it was the Guardian's Office and the Snow White program, one of the FBI people that went through their organization said that this rivals most countries' intelligence networks. It's a need to know basis. I had one person that I communicated with. That was it. I only knew that one person. And he would tell me he was talking to one person higher. And it was funny years later when we met, the one person higher. And he was like, "You were that woman?" And I said, "Yeah, you were that guy." And that's how closed it is. When I was spying on a certain group or location, they had other spies there spying on me and saying what I was doing. So you always knew you were watched, even as a spy.
Let me add one thing specifically to what you were asking. The closest thing I can think of is a year or two ago on the BBC, Panorama did a half-hour episode called Scientology and Me. And John Sweeney was the reporter on that show. And they had cameras following him everywhere. And at one point here in LA, they pushed John Sweeney over the edge, and you probably have seen the clip of him shouting at their spokesperson in his face, just like, "You weren't there," and he was screaming, and there was spittle, and Scientology took all this footage, and the weekend before the BBC aired their Panorama program, they leaked that clip of John Sweeney onto YouTube to kind of mute the impact of the BBC show. Unfortunately, what it did was, unfortunately for Scientology, it drew more attention to the show and it made it the most watched program on the BBC that week. And but they had crews following him everywhere from LA to Florida. And they actually compiled a complete mini documentary of their own, and Scientology released this expose of BBC's news practices. They burned about 100,000 copies onto DVDs, and they released that to every official that they could throughout the UK. They sent it to every journalist, they sent it to every politician, and they made sure that they tried to blunt the impact of that broadcast before it aired, but it didn't work. Any other questions? Yes. Right. Well, John Travolta has come out and said that he is still a very strong believer in Scientology. He attended an event just a few weeks ago in the UK, and he made it clear that Scientology has allegedly helped him through this tragedy, and I'll take him at his word there. But I also understand that Travolta and the family was giving the Jet some drugs to handle it, but did Jet get the proper care that he needed all the way through? I don't know, and I don't think any of us are really in the position to comment on.
And Paul Haggis?
Paul Haggis, that was explosive. That was a major story, and I think we'll see more of those. Celebrity defections are probably their biggest fear right now. Paul Haggis, Oscar-winning writer-director, denounced Scientology in the strongest terms, and did so on the internet through Marty Rathman's blog. And Marty Rathman was one of the top executives who have left Scientology and has spoken out and has caused all sorts of problems for David Miscavige, the current leader. Also, it's not as big a profile to those of us who aren't Scientologists, but in the world of Scientology, there was another huge blow just a couple of weeks ago when the star of their orientation film publicly left. And this is an introductory film that all new recruits to Scientology see. He is the face of Scientology. And it's a wonderfully hilarious 20-minute short film if you ever have a chance to see it. Right now they're reshooting it, I'm sure. But he is like actor Troy McClure, and he's walking you through the org going, now let's go over to the library. I think you should have this book and this book. You'll want to buy this book and this book. And he's the happiest, nicest guy you could possibly meet until the end of the film, when the lights come down and the music becomes very ominous. And he says, of course, you could walk out that door right now and never mention Scientology again, but you might as well blow your brains out. And I mean, it's lunacy. And I remember the first time I saw it with a Scientologist friend, the two of us in the screening room, I was laughing hysterically by that point. But everybody in Scientology knows this fellow, Larry Anderson. And for him to publicly depart was big news to Scientology as well. And what made it even bigger news is when he asked for his money back, he set a tape recorder on the table and had this hour-long conversation with Tommy Davis, the current PR person for Scientology, and their entire conversation was recorded, and that was given to the St. Petersburg Times and was just published on the net just a few weeks ago. And that was explosive because clearly in the audio tape, Scientology is lying about their process of giving money back if you're unhappy. And that's an agreement they have with the IRS. They said if you ask for your money and do it the proper way, we'll give you your money back. Well, here he is on tape doing it, and they're refusing to give him the money back. So things like that are explosive.